Welcome to episode 18, dude.
Episode 18.
We've been actually even slacking, and I think we're at 18 already.
Nice. Are you doing these weekly right now?
Trying to. I got two this week. I got you and then Mr. Mortgage Man at the end of this week. Yeah.
Cool.
I told him like on Friday, I was like, dude, we're just going to like put a date on there because I was like, he's such a flake sometimes. I'm like I don't mean it in like a bad way, but like when you try to nail him down for anything other than like, something he wants to do, it's funny. I'm like, dude, just put it in there.
You're going to have to bring your equipment to his house or something.
Not doing that, but yeah. But yeah, speaking of bringing your equipment, you rolled up with the laptop to the birthday party.
I did.
What were you working on?
Writing offers, man. Like I kind of anticipated it, but that's like something in this industry that I've grown to just know is no matter the day, no matter the time, we're like on call, so
24/7.
That's it. I mean, it was that Friday or Saturday? Thursday. I think it was
I was about to say Saturday, but it was Friday.
Was it Friday night? Yeah. So it was like Friday night, 8:00 or something, and I was at a party, had my computer, I was writing an offer, so that's part of the industry, and you get out what you put in. So there is a lot of people that don't really quite make it. I think there's like an 85% turnover rate in the industry. So especially with how things are shifting right now, it is quite difficult. I hear often about people who are struggling a lot in the industry right now, and I'm kind of like, this is like my best year ever. So it's
awesome,
but I'm putting in 75 to 90 hours a week. So that's
it.
Yeah,
slacking.
I know, right? So I got to ramp up my energy too.
Absolutely. Well, before we go any further, this morning we got Eric Dabundo, and you're with KW, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So give us a little bit, for people who don't know you, give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Yeah. So I had gotten into the industry 4 years ago now, right before COVID as well. I was working at a gym in King of Prussia, Lifetime, and I was like a supervisor at the front there, so I was just meeting people all the time, which is cool.
Nice.
And so then I got into real estate, and I kind of coincided the two at the time. So I was working part-time there and kind of teetering with real estate a little bit here and there when I could. And then just talking with people there got me my first referral. And so that was a friend of mine who referred to their niece to me. My first ever deal was in Bridgeport. I remember that. Like, you always remember your first deal.
Right.
Absolutely. So that was awesome. And then COVID shut everything down. And then after things started to open back up, I didn't go back there. I just went full throttle with real estate. And that was, I guess, 2021 things started to open back up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And so I was on a team. I started on a team as well. I was with EXP Realty. And I was there for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I switched up to do a different brokerage, became independent. And, things have just continued to grow quite a bit. So it's been an awesome time so far. And this is my 4th year in independent and best year ever. So cool to kind of have that, perspective of looking back on things and how things have grown and how you have your mindset change and different ways you can invest into yourself and your business. And it's been an awesome 4 years so far. And I'm excited to keep growing and keep learning. I mean, that's the thing is like they don't teach, when you get into real estate school, they don't teach you like what you really need to know and how to grow a business, because that's what it is. It's a business. And so they teach you about like zoning and all the different types of,
most of which you don't even, you'll never think about again.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's like anything.
Right. Exactly. So once you get through there, really having a good, partner, mentor, education system within the actual industry is like the most important thing for sure. So if anyone's looking to get into real estate, those are probably some of the biggest things to keep an eye out for when looking where to go, who to partner with. And so I think I've aligned myself with a good group of people that certainly have that at the top of their priority list, to make sure that those, are helping everybody build their business right. So it's been good.
After 4 years, you're still bullish on your real estate career, huh?
Absolutely, very much so.
That's good. After getting into it, even let's say like early on, up till now and everything, what did you expect it to be, and how did what it turned out to be differ? Or was it exactly what you thought it would be?
That's a good question. I remember, so before I even got into real estate, I was shadowing an agent. She was like bringing me around to like home inspections and things and showings. I kind of just was like seeing what a day in the life of a real estate agent was. And I remember I was sitting in her car with her, and she was like, what do you expect? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to make $100,000. Like, that's what I want to do. And so that was like my first year. I was hoping to do that, and I fell short. Definitely, my first year was a bit slow, I guess, because I didn't know what to expect in the industry, and it is a ton of work. So my first year, I did I think it was like 9 deals, and I was on a team. So when you're on a team as well, there's a split that goes to the team. So I, was splitting my commissions with the team. And then each year since then, I have continued to grow. But that was, I guess, like an expectation that I just wanted to like make a certain threshold of a commission income. And there was a lot of things that I did not know in terms of building my business properly. Like from setting up the LLC to generating leads to having systems, and like those were things that I just was kind of naive to. And again, they don't teach you that from this. Even when you get into real estate, it's a lot of just like understanding the contract law and the contracts and how to communicate things with buyers and sellers. So like those are things that I didn't even really realize until probably my second, third year.
I found that I've been in and around the industry since '06, and I've had my real estate license in the past. And I think even just till now, as I work, a lot of them are great people. A lot of them can sell the shit out of a house, but most of them have no idea how to run a business.
Yeah,
and that is one of their biggest downfalls. That it's like when they're struggling, it's like, but you're not doing what you need to do to get the results you want. And I think so. So talk about how you came in. Like, did you know and understand that right away, and then you just kind of built and learned? Or did you kind of get a wake-up call when you first got into it that's like, shit, I need to start running this more like a business?
Yeah, I think I did have a wake-up call because I wasn't doing it at first. And so, like I said, when I got in, I heard time and time again, people like, oh, after your third year, fourth year, things like really start to compound. And I was just like, sweet, like I hope it happens before then. But and then in my third year, I really did start to see that happen. And also like at that time, I was starting to make enough money where I was able to hire a real estate coach. So that was a huge component for my growth. I'd say so that was literally just like last year that I started doing that. That was my third year. So year 3, I hired a real estate coach, and then that has helped me grow my business, grow my systems, do everything to a higher level, which has been incredible. But now, at the same time, you also have to, I'm still working with that same coach and another accountability and social media coach at the same time. So now also I'm trying to figure out a balance of scaling this coach back and ramping this up. So I think it's tough to find that balance as well as when you have those relationships that that you've kind of, I wouldn't say relationship, but I feel like I've kind of maxed it out, if that makes sense. So I know I need to grow in a different way and have some different, accountability and a different group of people. And so I feel almost like a level of stagnant with where I'm at here. So knowing when and where to take that leap of faith to be able to take that next level and surround yourself with a higher level of people. So That was the past year and a half-ish I've been with that coach. And so now I'm starting to transition right now into that next level. So it's having that, being mindful of your growth and like never being comfortable is a huge part of, I mean, just entrepreneur in general, right? So as you know, so like, that's what, I mean, a lot of people aren't doing as well right now. It's like, I mean, I'm out weekly door knocking every day. I'm making cold calls. So those are things that, you know, you have to incorporate. I mean, there's a million ways to generate leads, but those outreaches are uber important to make sure that you're growing and scaling your business.
So you work your sphere, obviously, right? Let's start there. What are some things that you do? Like, what are some ways you attack your sphere?
So I have everybody in my CRM, and I'm able to
Friends, family, everybody. Okay.
And so I reach out to everybody that is like real close with me, my sphere, yes, with like text messages, and I have everybody on certain databases that send them information about the market and like specific value to their home, and people reach out like often about that. It's really good conversation point to have those sent out, and then I'm able to see how people are interacting, and I reach out like regarding that. But at the same time, you know, I should kind of just keep in touch with people, like phone call, text messages, just checking in to see how people are doing. That's more so with my sphere to try to keep, like, those are more personal outreaches. But at the same time, having those personal outreaches to cold clients or leads that you can try to take that relationship to the next level to be able to pull them in is incredibly important, and doing it right too. Like having those systems to do it right is so important to try to make, because like I'm trying to mitigate, I mean, myself, I'm sure like the highest level real estate agent trying to mitigate anything from falling through the cracks. Like that's where you want to try to be.
How are you finding, like, how long have you been doing the cold calls and the door knocking and things like that? How long have you had that implemented?
I'd say like a year and a half now. Yeah.
Are you having success?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Which one more than the other, or both like contributing equally?
I would say cold calls probably have a higher conversion rate for me right now.
Okay.
Because of the way I approach it. So a lot of the cold calls I make are expireds, where it's a little bit easier conversation.
Are they coming back?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, they're definitely coming back. So it's like an easy touch point because they've tried to list their home and failed. As well as I have a system called HomeBot where like it sends I have a couple thousand people in this database where it sends them monthly reports, and I'm able to kind of like funnel these people into another database that like this person has interacted more. And so it's an easy, hey, you know, I saw you interact with this 3 times over the past month.
Yeah.
What's going on? Rather than like a door knock is a bit colder, I'd say. And it really depends, like going up to a door where, you know, you don't know how long they've been there, and there's, you know, because it's a numbers game. So oftentimes when I'm door knocking, I'm usually leveraging listings, whether it's mine, our offices, or anybody else's, just to have that, again, easy conversation, easy touch point, and then just giving people information about that home that has sold or the market in general, and just kind of having that information, and then trying to get them, hey, you know, I'll keep you in the loop with some additional stuff, and get their email, and to nurture for sure. And so it definitely works. There's no doubt. I mean,
no doubt.
I remember, you know, just relatively recently, I remember I was door knocking a neighborhood in Westchester, and this woman had answered the door. She was like, oh, I think this person are likely going to be selling. So I like went right over to their house.
You found the neighborhood Karen, huh?
And so I was like, I wrote her a handwritten card, and I sent her a little gift card, and then she ended up buying and selling. So yeah, it was a perfect win. And so those personal touches, handwritten cards are great. People love that too.
You know, the one thing, like I have a client of mine who who has had like success before, like when COVID happened, and getting to everything that happened that got us to this point now, it's like the stuff that used to work doesn't work necessarily. You almost have to get back to the basic stuff that people thought like, oh, I've been doing this so long, I'm beyond doing the door knocking and the cold calling. Like my postcards will do it for me, or this or that. And it's just the market's moving so fast, and there's people that are out there that maybe haven't been in the business like yourself as long, but you're competent and you're hustling and you're out there and you're doing the things that are going to get in touch and with people faster than these old processes. Yeah. And they just don't want to do it. Well, it's like, it's kind of adapt or die kind of thing, right? And like from, in concept, it's not exactly that, but one of the first books when I was with KW, they handed me the shift book right away. I got my license right as everything tanked in 07, 08. So it's tough market. Different, but still pretty tough market back then too. And while it was probably hard initially, but like you got in at a time where there was a lot of chaos and a transition to the market, and kind of probably leveled the playing field between you and people who've been in the business a little bit longer. Yeah. How did you learn to get good at accepting or handling the rejection? Because that's a big part of doing those door knockings and cold calls. Yeah,
and I hate to say like you just do it, like you just got to do it, but also having an account, like a level of accountability with someone. Like you got to find someone who also wants it just as bad, like a similar level, right? So, at first I had a couple people in my office that were doing it, and we would jump on like
Power hour.
Yeah, exactly. We would jump on like a FaceTime or a Zoom or something, and we would call for call. Same thing with door knocking. Like one person would get one side of the street, I'd get the other, and we'd like knock it out. And so like you have to do it. Like there's no way around it. Right.
But you also get better at it, right? So you're like, it's never fun having somebody tell you to go F off, right? But at the same time, it's like if you can just grow that thick skin, get over that, you actually, the more reps you get in, the better you get, which probably 100%. Increases the conversion.
100%. Right? Yeah, that's very accurate. And what I'm doing now is a consistent level of role play, which has been increasing my confidence to like give a high level of value and articulate the information properly to these people, that like we're here to provide value. And so if you're coming from a place of that, like with value, it like if someone says F off or shuts the door in your face, it does like, it just brushes right off me at this point. Because, it will. The more you do it, the more kind
they're lost kind of thing. Like just gotta move on.
Yeah. If you're kind of like, if I'm coming from a place of like, I'm going to be providing so much value to these people, if they want it or not, like it doesn't matter to me. And so having that mindset shift is very important. And so like right now I'm in a group of people who want that higher level of success in real estate, and you got to pay to play. And so like you have to be paid to be a part of this group. And we're role playing and calling at 7:30 every single morning, and just like sharpening our edges every single day to get better at those conversations, to have those objections, and keeping current with the economy, and having current objections with like what is right now we're getting a lot of election objections, and people want to wait until after the elections. And
really?
So just making sure that you're up to date with everything and have those handlers for what people are throwing at you, because knowing the market and understanding what people want and need, and just kind of meshing the two is where we ultimately want to have that meeting ground. So it's like if you can have those things and have those confident conversations, and making sure that you're able to provide that value to try to get in front of those people, you'll be in good shape. So it's easier, much easier said than done, but it's been certainly years of thinning out the weeds of knowing the right people and finding the right groups and having the high level of accountability. Because even when I had my first real estate coach, I wouldn't say there wasn't a high level of accountability, right? I was tracking all my numbers and like he would check in with me weekly. And it's like, hey, did you hit your numbers, basically? And so there was nothing like really pushing me to like have those 50 conversations every single week. And so now it's like there's more of a fire under my ass, so to speak, to like get it done. And so that has been very powerful, honestly, to have that higher level, just like continuing.
It's like a gym partner.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah. Great analogy. Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to push that big weight without somebody there. You know? All right. So what makes Eric Dabundo different? There's a lot of real estate agents out there, and you know, for the most part, I think a lot of them, there's a lot of cookie cutterness to a lot of them. What makes you different?
I would say like my hustle and tenacity. Like if I grind so hard for my clients day in and day out, 7 days a week. I mean, not putting anything on anybody that isn't working 7 days a week. Like obviously I know that people have families and other obligations. Like right now I'm in a place that I am able to invest my time 7 days a week to grow my business and help my clients. So, you know, if I have a buyer that wants a certain area, a certain neighborhood, I'm out there, peeling back the layers to figure out exactly what they want. I'm out there door knocking. I'm out there like prospecting the neighborhood, sending out emails to the entire neighborhood, doing anything and everything I can to try to find that next person that is willing to sell and get my buyer in there. And on the flip side with listings, like we're taking things to such a high level with promoting these properties, reverse prospecting. I've got, we're working with and scaling up our social media and pushing advertisements and everything to like really just take those things to a high level and we're doing open houses every single weekend. We're creating like open house events, getting people in there, drawing it in, getting the neighbors. Like it's such a high level of marketing that we've been able to get it to grow what we need to for our buyers and sellers day in and day out. So I think that, I get that, some people have big teams and they can do that as well. And they've grown and scaled a team to, have social media people and have buyer's agents. And so like it is a beautiful, seamless transition that they have. But at the same time, I've talked with many people that are like, it doesn't feel very personal. And so that's what you get with me is like that level of professionalism, but on, I guess, extremely like you deal with me and me only. Like, so
you would say that your clients, what you're just explaining and talking about now, your clients would agree. Like they see it and they feel it. It's not just something you say you're doing all this stuff, but then to the client, you're just a normal real estate agent.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go on Google and type in Eric Dabundo Real Estate and see all the reviews.
Yeah?
So yeah, you'll see. Absolutely. People are definitely vouch for it for sure. We definitely operate on a high level. Because
it sounds like you're like even like I've seen this that some people do this. Not everybody does it, but like going out and when you need to find a place for your buyers, like you're actually being proactive, trying to make that place appear when it's not there, right?
Yeah.
How are you? What level of success are you having for buyers right now? Are you running into? Because I was just talking about this with our last guest, and I see some people out there that it seems like they get a buyer and in a very short period of time, they're posting, hey, under contract, we found the place. And then there's other people that are like, you talk to them and they're like, I've been looking for 6 months and I can't find it. It's like, where do you fall in that? Like, how are you doing?
Yeah, I think it's very case by case. I've got some buyers that I've been working with for a year, some buyers that I show them one house and we go under contract. So it's like, I think it all boils down to their motivation level and how bad they want to, because it is a seller's market. In this region of the country, it certainly is a seller's market. So painting a very, very clear picture to them is like, here's what's going on in your price point and what you want. Like, this is realistically what we're going to have to do to compete and come out on top. Because things are constantly shifting. Like just this past week, I had a buyer where we put it at a home that was priced $300,000 in Westchester. Yeah. We went $55,000 over. Right? And then it ended up going 60 over. Yeah. So it's like understanding the market, what they want. And I mean, that's a crazy example where the home went 20% overvalue is insane. Like, but having a really good pulse on the market to be able to articulate to them clearly, like, here's likely what we're gonna have to do to compete, and making sure that you're both on the same team and on board to do what we gotta do to come out on top, is like just having that clear communication and education of the market will get you where you need to be.
So I guess if you were not getting a buyer under contract fairly quickly, it's more of, hey, they're not in a position or not willing to do what it took to get that house, or maybe they're overly picky and it's just a requirement to wait. Or, I mean, so it's not that there aren't homes out there for people to go get. Correct. Or is it?
There is. I mean, inventory is low for sure. Lower than,
and I guess that's what I'm getting at. Some people are bitching about it, some people aren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like some people are finding like getting over the finish line and some people aren't.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's where it really comes down to, like, who you work with is so important, because there are a lot of part-time people who aren't putting in the grind and the hustle and doing like all.
As a result of part-time, you don't have the time to put in the effort.
Absolutely. And like, okay, if you strike out a half a dozen times with someone, it's like something's not working, right? So we got to take a step back and be like, what have we done that isn't creating success? And so that's where I really start to ramp things up with, like we talked about, creating opportunities that aren't there. That's a huge thing in the market right now. I mean, I have conversations constantly with sellers who are like, I'm thinking about selling. So, and then being able to find a buyer that I might have and match make that, like, that is a lovely thing for them. It's like, hey, okay, great. If you're thinking about selling, listen, I've got a buyer that might match what you're wanting. Is it cool, have them come through or whatever and see if we could work out a deal? Because, maybe they, after 6 times of striking out, maybe they are willing to go about a bit over what they would hope to get for their home, or waive that inspection, or create some additional terms that are certainly favorable to the seller.
I did notice that there was a handful of times where it's like, it seems like buyer, or at least for a period, and for some of them, they need to get punched in the face once or twice to kind of like, all right, I get it now. And because it's tough. I mean, what we were doing, and what the advice you would have given to people prior to like COVID and all of this stuff, what you're doing now is completely antithetical to that. Like, you would never tell people, like, I know you're not going to like say like, hey, you have to waive inspections, but you're gonna be like, listen, this is what people are doing. This is what might get you over the top. You have to explain people these options. And that's not what you would ever have told somebody prior to what we're dealing with now.
And that's, I mean, having an extremely clear line of communication with, if you're working with a buyer, with the listing agent. And then just being super like open-minded to that information and clearly articulating that to your buyers. Like, hey, okay, they have 4 offers over asking price, waiving inspections, offering to cover the transfer tax. Like, this is what we have to do to be competitive. Are you willing to do it? Yes or no? It's, trying to kind of black and white. And so just as like in certain competitive situations, it is like, that's where we might have to be. If not, okay, let's move on. Let's try to find that next one. If you have a certain area or neighborhood, then, we could try to reverse prospect that way as well. So
why did you choose to be at the brokerage you're at?
I was looking for options when I was with my previous brokerage in terms of, I'd say, like a higher level of education. That was kind of at the forefront of my decision making. I was interviewing with several brokerages, anyone that you could think of, name. I was checking them out, talking with their brokers or team leaders or whatever the case might be. And I'd found that like the backbone of my current brokerage is really a high level of training and education that they pour into us at like, whatever our office costs are, like that's no additional cost or anything. And they have continued to grow into that position, like more so now than even when I had started. Like every single week we're like doing high level trainings with with all the NAR lawsuits and everything that are going on. There's contracts that are changing, things that are changing, things that we have to keep on top of at a high level to make sure that we are abiding by those regulations. So yeah, we every single, multiple times a week, we have people coming in and pouring into us that are in that industry, whether it's an appraiser, a home inspector, like you name it. We have people coming in that are having that success in their avenue within real estate and getting us to that same high level within. So it, again, it just
so it kind of goes back to you talking about keeping your edges sharp, right?
Absolutely,
and just constantly staying on that.
Yeah.
Now, that is, from what you just told me, it sounds like you chose that because you want to be at the top of your game, right?
Yeah.
Now, but we're in a time where there are more of the boutique, smaller brokerages than there ever have been.
Yeah.
And I think what you're starting, like it's kind of always been this way, but I think you're seeing it more now that you're seeing agents, good agents, having success where they go regardless of the banner that they have over their head, right? So is the brokerage as important for there used to be a time where it's like, hey, I want this brokerage because I believe that they handle listings of my price range better than others, right? Mm-hmm. But in today's market, is the brokerage more important to the agent finding what they need to service their clients better than it is to have that banner, like that brand for the seller? Like, how important is that now?
I would say it's not important whether there's, a certain label of a brokerage that you affiliate with in front of your name. I think is less important now than ever. And building a personal brand is how it has shifted. That's more important now than ever, rather having a certain brokerage. Sure. However, there are certain values and attributes that some brokerages, I would say,
agreed,
value and include into like their business plan better than others. Sure. And aligning that with how you want to build your own personal business is, I think, like where that perfect medium is. So I think, you can have a very, very high level of success at any brokerage, without a doubt. And so I think it might be easier to get started with certain brokerages than others. But, if a high level agent or individual, I think they could go from one brokerage to another, to another,
if to another. If you've got it, you've got it.
Yeah, right? For sure. Yeah.
Is there anybody that you look at that to try and emulate their success, their career?
Yeah, there's a lot of high level agents in this area, which is awesome. Like there are some people in my office and our Westchester office and the main line that just run the show, and like that. They've been doing it for years and years and years. Like, as I can go back to look at homes that are sold 15, 20 years ago and I see like their name there, so there are a lot of people that I look up to that have an incredible book of business and like, run whatever town area.
There's a blueprint to follow.
Absolutely. So, those are people that you want to surround yourself with and pick their brain and sit down and have conversations with them. And I think that, so long that they're open-minded to, I don't see why they wouldn't. I've done it many times myself. So putting yourself out there too and having those conversations with those people that are doing what you want to do is super important too, just in real estate or any other entrepreneurial path that you want to go is like, trying to find that. And like you said, what you want to emulate and what they've done to grow. It's really consistency. It's like, that's, I think the biggest underlying thing is day in and day out, you're plugging in and pouring into your business, generating leads, and doing what you got to do to keep this moving. Because I think there's a lot of people who aren't as consistent as they should be, or not necessarily should be, but like to grow it to a level that you need to, how things have changed. Like that's just what is needed in real estate right now. Is like 7 days. I think like 7 days a week grind is what you really need to do. To at least grow your business to a higher level.
No, 100%.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have to. I mean, it's like there's another Eric Dabundo coming up on your heels if you're not doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? All right. Not too long on this, but the NAR lawsuit, in your eyes, good thing or bad thing for the industry?
I don't think it's good nor bad, honestly. I'm kind of indifferent about it. I think there's some things that are certainly changing that we have implemented into Pennsylvania law already. For example, I think like one of the biggest things that's coming out of this really is like buyer agency agreement. In Pennsylvania, we've had that already. And now we have to have a buyer agency agreement signed prior to showing people homes.
Which was kind of how it was always supposed to be anyway, but nobody did it.
Supposed to be, right. So I think we're very well versed within that already. At least, most people are. And I truly think that like, obviously people are always going to have to buy and sell homes, right?
Sure.
A lot of people, they come up to me and they're like, so what's up with, you guys aren't going to be getting commissions anymore? I was like, yeah, you just don't know what's going on. So I think that could be a good value add, maybe another conversation we have at another time, going into that at a higher level. But that is not what's going on. I mean, the commissions have always been negotiable. And so I think they're just shedding light on that more. I think we're going to see a slight disruption for, a year, 18 months or 2 years or something, in terms of people thinking who's going to get paid or who's going to pay us or not. But I think ultimately, if we provide a high level of value to our clients, you're going to do well. Like that's the biggest thing.
I agree, but I think that's going to be on the agents to get good at articulating that value. And a lot of them are not great at it.
Yeah, you're very right. And I think, maybe that the turnover rate in the industry of 85%, maybe that increases and it's going to thin out the herd a little bit. And so
you look upset.
Right. So in terms of a good thing, maybe that's a good thing.
Sure. All right. Number one thing sellers need to know about this.
About the
briefly,
lawsuit. Commissions are negotiable. I'm seeing more, it's definitely happening. People, I would say 99% of the time, sellers have provided the commissions to both the buyer's agent and seller's agent, and then you split it, right?
That can still happen, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think there's a huge value add in that happening because of the, for example, Seller A has their home for sale, not offering a commission. Seller B has their home for sale, offering a commission. They're going to have certainly an influx of buyers who are working with an agent because so many buyers are naive as to like the process and what has to happen for a real estate transaction. They're going to have agents that are certainly pushing this other listing that's offering a compensation because
so that's actually a really good example. So used to be that people would say like, oh, you need to offer this much commission because if you don't, not that it's ethical and not that they should do it, but the agents may steer their buyers away from your listing, right?
Right.
And it's not how it's supposed to be, but like I'm sure it happened. Let's say it happened, right?
Yeah.
But now, given those situations, given the way the commissions could potentially work, the buyer might steer themselves away from that house because if they have to come out of their pocket, that extra
5, 10,
commission,
15,
maybe they
whatever it
can't
is.
afford it, especially with prices the way they are.
Absolutely.
That could be a huge one.
It could. Yeah. And so there still are gray areas in terms of like how that can be implemented, whether you go over and you can get a seller credit and have that pushed to the agent. And so there's a lot of speculation as to how it's going to be ruled out, but I think is there a right way and a wrong way? Like,
we'll find out.
Right. Yeah.
I think the PA paperwork has always been so good compared to other states and everywhere else that I think it's just what they're doing now is just making an unnecessary pain in the butt. But we'll find out how that's going to
like I said,
out.
I think we'll see a disruption for a little bit. Things will certainly smooth out. So I'm not worried at all, no.
All right, quickly, I got a couple more. What's the next 5 years look like for you? Is there a team in the plans down the road? Like,
definitely,
what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a team in the works. That is likely I'd say within that 5 years, probably 3-year plan. To be able to grow and scale that to a high level of, definitely want to be able to grow my business to a point that I could start to bring buyer's agents on. Right now it's me and a transaction coordinator. So that's a huge, huge help.
It's a good piece, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great business plan that we have as of now, but in the next 3 years, I absolutely want to scale it to a point to bring buyer's agents on and have just like such a well-oiled machine with people who want this like more than not anything. So that's going to be certainly a prereq for the team is like you got to be hungry in this, and full time for sure. So like this is going to be your bread and butter. This is what's going to be.
It's going to be the hard part.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work with a couple of independent agents at my office right now that I could see that being a potential, and in 3 years, who knows who I'll run into in the meantime as well. But I think that's definitely going to be something that we grow and scale as a team. Right now at Keller Williams, that's likely where we'll be. I don't see any other shift in the near future, but
I'm sure there will be some.
Yeah, right.
All right, what's something you do for yourself personally that helps keep your head in the game when real estate gets nuts?
Mindfulness, and what that looks like could be anything, right? So. It's easy to get consumed in the industry, whether it's working 12, 14-hour days, having all these shiny objects thrown at you, like from other vendors, like that could help you grow and scale your business. So having a high level of mindfulness in terms of like grind, and knowing when to pull back, not even necessarily pull back, but like take a step away. Like sometimes I just need to go to the gym, exercise, go for a walk, go outside, just play out like anything, go to the lake nearby here, whatever. So that I would say even like as early this year, like I feel like I had some burnout for sure. And so trying to be mindful to mitigate burnout is real for sure, because there's no limit on what you can or can't do in this business. There's no ceiling. There's no.
I've always
hour
found
limit.
Yeah. I've always felt burnout is more of a mental thing. Like if you can do what you're talking about and like kind of just reset and just kind of bring it, like reset the focus.
Yeah,
it helps big time.
Big time. Yeah, absolutely. Something as simple as just going for a walk, like
100%.
Yeah, seeing how you feel before, seeing how you feel after, and having that balance is very, very important. Yeah, because you can't perform at your peak performance if you're starting to burn out. So I think that's why implementing that is like incredibly important, to make sure that you're working hard but still having fun and able to find that balance. That's a big importance in real estate.
Make a note.
Yeah, or entrepreneurship at any level. Yeah,
100%. All right. So that's all major questions. Now we ask everybody who comes on to this one. So send us off with a positive message to the world.
I think maybe just kind of what we just spoke about, like finding a beautiful balance, like building something beautiful, but still having fun while you're doing it. I think the past year or so, I think like I've just have been so laser focused on myself and growing my business that I've kind of put that on the back burner. So making sure that I just still have fun, man. Like, whether you're 20, 40, 60, 80, whatever, like still have fun in life. I just actually was talking to my uncle and he had mentioned that my great aunt who's 94 just started taking guitar lessons. And I was like pretty inspired by that.
94?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like still like no matter where you're at in life, like just have fun with it,
Yeah.
So I think that's a message that I would push to the masses. Make sure you keep having fun. Yeah.
Cool. Nobody said that one yet.
All right, cool. Awesome.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. That's
course,
it. And good luck.
Thank you very much.
You got
Look forward
it.
to the next one.
Absolutely. All right, that's it, man.
Sweet. That was fun.